In the first game today, we are playing Sion. We're up against a Kled, and this game I decided to start with W. I saw a comment in the previous video asking why I tend to go Q over W. It really just comes down to matchup. The higher ELO you go, the easier it is for people to know how to punish you. So if you take W into a lot of matchups, you're going to end up getting zoned out and having to suicide to win the lane. Whereas if you go Q, you can allow them to push you in and play safer. In this matchup, Kled doesn't have the tools he needs at level 1 to beat us, so we can start with the W, still keep lane pressure, and get level 2 first. The wave gets pushed in, and I attempt to get this reset. I drop the ward, and then walk out of vision of the minions, but the Kled sees that I'm trying to recall, and he doesn't want to let me get that free back, which makes sense because he is now stronger. The waves bounced, I have no mana, but I have enough health to survive, so I end up sticking around. Take a look at the map, you've got Janna and the Kazakhs roaming towards the top lane. I know I can't help him, and I want this farm, so I make sure to ping that my mana is low, so they understand I'm staying for this farm. They see the Kled's low health, so they commit anyway. It ends up being a profitable trade. I get the farm, they get his flash. The next part that happens in this game is the most crucial game-defining moment. I cleared the wave and decided to recall, but then I was thinking, you know what? Kled doesn't have teleport. Why don't I just stick around and slow build up this wave once again? With this massive wave in front of the Kled's tower, there are a lot of Sion mains who would then cross through the tower and proxy and attempt to get gold that way, but there's another option. You could simply ditch top and head to the bot lane. It's always a good idea to ask which of the summoner spells have been used. In this case, there were none, but if there was someone that used a spell, that is who I would target to guarantee gold. We managed to catch the enemy bot lane in an awkward position, which secures us 2 kills. I then teleport top in the perfect nick of time to catch the entire full wave. We miss absolutely nothing. Skipping into the future, we're now at a point where we're strong enough to go behind the tower and start proxying ourselves without too much risk of handing over gold. I'm also strong enough to take the wave and then take jungle camps. Wave, jungle camp, wave, jungle camp. Keep an eye on our farm. We are beating the clock. We're beating the clock with very minimal gold handed back to the enemy. From here, it's just a matter of picking up the bonus gold from these towers with the gold that we've accrued. I get the bonus gold from this tower. I then go to the top tower and get that bonus gold. Notice how I'm trying to go for every single free bonus gold. It's just the easiest way for Sion to snowball. Whilst I'm doing that, the enemy is trying to stop us from getting the soul point, and somehow the Janna manages to flash over the wall, steal it from them, and then I flank. We clean up these kills, and the game, it's over. What a terrible way to lose the soul point. I have no clue how Janna got that. Although, I'm assuming it's because she's been hard at work perfecting the art of slaying dragons for years. This is Raid Shadow Legends, a free-to-play fantasy RPG with tons of champions and factions. I know you've seen this before, but have you ever really tried it yourself? Over the years, I've played the game on and off, so I can personally say that Raid Shadow Legends definitely gets a bit of tough love. The internet likes the meme on it, but there's a reason that it's still here after all these years. That reason is quite simple. It's actually a pretty good game. You know how this works. You can scan the QR code or download the game via the link in my description. There's something you probably don't hear too often. There's a lot of depth and skill to be uncovered in this game. When you first start playing, you might not realize it, but after a certain point, you can't just use the auto battle feature to get you through story mode anymore. You're gonna need to whip out that brain of yours and start coming up with creative ways to defeat the opponents. Over the years, Raid has been consistently adding in a wealth of content, including a large category of different modes, from PvE to PvP to story mode to challenge tower to the raids. There's hundreds of hours of new challenging content for you to discover. So if you're a new player or an existing one, now's a really good time to come and check out all the new features that have been added. Not only that, but Raid have a special event going called the Spring Hunt, where they're giving out a gaming console and over $10,000 in Amazon gift cards. They're also running some community events, including one that gives you the legendary champion Adolin completely for free. And to claim her, all you need to do is log in 7 times. So once again, check out the QR code or the link in the description. I've placed all the details for the previously mentioned prizes down there. And yeah, maybe it's time to give Raid a try. You might be surprised. I know that I was. Game number 2 starts off a little rocky. We're playing Braum, and straight away our ADC, the Aphelios, he misses 2 easy minions. There's really no reason for it, right? No one's pressuring him. I decide to play safe from that point on. Nothing ends up happening until this dive. I gotta admit, I went into this game thinking that things were not gonna go our way. As soon as I saw him miss that farm, it looked kind of grim. But getting that double kill under the tower, it gave us the momentum we needed to start winning lane. Also, having your team back you up like that is a good sign of things to come, generally speaking. But also, generally speaking, I'm a I'm just playing. I didn't really cause him to stay. He stayed on his own free will. I never pinged him to stay. Also, I never told him to go to that tri-bush to ward. If we had just taken the gold and ran immediately after, I'm sure we would have been fine. We end up both dying, and things take a turn for the worse. The scoreline in top ended up going really south after Shen left his lane. Camille completely took over, so top ended up being a complete wipe. Diana was making some interesting plays. She ends up trading her life for the tower, and realistically speaking, in this moment, we should have cut our losses, but I'm probably a bit confused about all the pings telling me to go in, not realizing that it was Diana pinging, and Diana's dead. I also have all my stamina spells up, and we managed to catch Vi out in this corner. It looks like it could be a promising play. You have the stun followed up by the Lux combo. I thought maybe we could make something happen here, but it was not to be. Even though it looked promising, we still ended up getting squashed, and it set the pace for the rest of the game. Skipping ahead to 21 minutes, this is the first actual mid-game team fight, I would say. Sivir is massive, the Xerath is massive, but there's a big shutdown bounty on Sivir, so that's what I'm attempting to pick off here. If we get that onto Aphelios, there's a decent chance we can come back. Fortunately, that doesn't happen, and then I end up stealing the bounty. The team was already trying to forfeit, so any gold is gold that we could use. The team continued trying to forfeit, and I kept voting no, because I could tell there are some members on the enemy team that aren't playing up to scratch. The Vi kept doing silly things that kept giving us gold back, and if we get those bounties, hey, it's only diamond at the moment. We're in like high, mid diamond. They always make mistakes, they always throw the game, and as soon as they have a lead and they drop it, it doesn't take long before their mental's shot, and who knows, they might fucking forfeit. Looking at these fights, it looks very close. If you saw the scoreline, you wouldn't believe that these scores are that far apart. The teams are still fairly equally balanced, which means if you get a couple kills, odds are we are going to win the longer this game goes. There's no point in giving up.
Okay, maybe there's a little bit of hope. They're just as bad as our team.
Transporting 8 minutes into the future, we have held on as good as we can. We are slowly scaling. The Vi is still making major mistakes.
God.
We get a free pick here. I am just as bad as the Shen apparently. I attempt to flank around without realizing that our ADC is already dead. Like, the ADC died before the fight even started apparently, and it's just a big, messy brawl. We do get the Xerath, which is a huge pickup, and unfortunately Sivir has teleport, and I make a major mistake. I didn't exhaust quick enough.
Oh my god, my exhaust was slow.
Anyway, that was the game. I honestly think if I exhausted sooner, we would kill Sivir and then stall the game out. Very likely we still would have lost.
That was bad by me.
That's alright, minus 15 LP, it happens. I reviewed the game after because I wasn't sure how Aphelios died. I was literally still dealing with the Vi. He walked straight into Siva and just...
that's what happened.
Yeah. Game number 3, we are playing Gragas. Our opponent is Set. We've learned from the previous Gragas top games that we played that I play a much better AP Gragas. So that's what we went ahead and did this game. We're doing full AP, and it does end up working out a lot better. So that is the correct call. However, this game is actually not too much about the gameplay, and I'm more curious to get your opinion. You probably noticed that I slowed down that clip. I want you to start focusing on Set's response times to some of my spells and also his ability to dodge my Q. If you've not caught on yet, then yes, for some reason, I think this Set is evading. I think he's scripting. I have no clue why, but the only time I can land any Qs is if I E forward and make it undodgeable, completely undodgeable. Obviously, this wasn't enough for him to beat me in lane because Gragas just shits on Set. He's flashing my ultimate before the animation comes out. It's very much not human. At this point in the game, I didn't think he was scripting just yet, but I'm speaking in post now, so I'm giving you the heads up. This upcoming clip does a really good job at showing it. So when I get into the fog of war with the brush, I throw out the Q, he doesn't react at all. He already knows it's not going to hit him. I go into the next brush, and then mid-fight, he dodges the skill shot. Could it be luck? Yes, it could be luck. But as the game goes on, how many times is he going to get lucky? The only time we're hitting him is with the Luden's proc. Next clip, he pre-dodges the ultimate once again. At this point, I'm getting curious. Like, you see me pinging question mark. His stats don't tell me he is like this amazing player. He's just this mediocre stats, and he doesn't have any scripting champions either, which makes it so confusing. But at this point, I know the movement is not normal. I'm verbalizing the fact that I don't think it's normal, and I even can see it perfectly in this spot. He just doesn't respond to my Q here, right? He knows it's not hitting him, and then on this one, it was going to hit him, so he moves immediately. I could have thrown those barrels in either spot, either time. It's just that the fact that he doesn't bother to move lets me know that it's just not him controlling it. We, as humans, we tend to preemptively dodge skill shots because we don't have the reaction time to react. I'm really curious to see your opinion of this. I didn't end up manually reporting him, so I just gave him standard report. But if you think he's scripting as well, I'll go back and I'll do the manual report and see what happens. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. We ended up winning this game quite easily. We won top, mid, bot. Every lane won. We got the ELO. It was at this moment I realized I fucked up. I know it looks extremely greedy here to not instantly ult and to attempt to just walk away, but what I will say is that I have an extra point in W, plus I've invested $1,000 into armor, so I was hoping that it would be enough to survive. I was poorly mistaken. And also, with my playstyle, I already know I'm losing this top lane, so I'm trying to save my ult for plays like this. Immediately, I ditch that top lane. There's no winning it. Yone's got it. I forfeit the lane, and I start roaming to try and make plays on the map. There's this thing that frequently happens in lower elo, sometimes in higher elo, where the top laner wins so hard, right? And he gets an abundance of gold. He can crush the enemy top laner, but he never groups with it. He just keeps splitting and splitting and splitting, and that's exactly where Sion can benefit. If he wants to keep splitting, I can let him do that, and I can start grouping and force team fights. We can make more gold than he's making, plus tilt the enemy team, and even potentially win the game before he even joins the team fight. It's more common than you think, and this is a great example of that type of playstyle. I've practically given up on attempting to beat him. I was gonna go for the 0-0 lane. That didn't come to fruition, so why not just attempt to force these team fights? This next engage is quite smart. I see them drop the Rift Herald. I know where it's going to go. People usually defend it. They don't just drop the Rift Herald and allow the enemy team to kill it. I guarantee at least one of these guys have no flash. So if I run my ult into this alley, it's likely it's going to land. After we clean them up, we immediately go for the Drake and then head to the Baron. We see that the Diana is split pushing. She is a massive issue. She can 1v1 the Yone as well. They end up sending the Talia to deal with her. I can see this happening 11 seconds before it happens. I call the Baron, we get it completely for free, and then we use that to close out the game immediately after. This fed Yone literally never joined a team fight. He's massive, and he did nothing. Game number 5, we are playing Leona. I would say this is the most mechanically competent game of the series today. We started with our E. The goal is to start fighting immediately. I'm trying to burn somebody summon a spell so that we can maybe make a play off of it in the future. Technically, they profited from that small exchange. However, I have Hexflash, but overall, it's a big win for us, in my opinion. It wasn't an ideal setup. We ended up getting the kill and then dying. Although I will say it was a pretty decent attempt at trying to escape. I ended up getting back to lane slightly quicker than my ADC, which allows me to sneak into the bush and cheese the Janna. Don't forget, we got her flash earlier, so she's practically a sitting duck. So goddamn unlucky. What if Corky got the double kill there? That would have been amazing. We tried our best. There's a lot of action happening in the bot lane. I see Janna attempting to get the kill onto me, so I bait her in slightly more. I end up dying, but overall, hard work. An ADC getting a kill versus the support getting the kill. We all know which one's the better choice. Immediately after, while the Janna is dead, this gives us the opportunity to dive Aphelios. I use the Hexflash to close the gap. There's not much he can do. We're really abusing the fact that their timings are off. When Janna dies, he's by himself, we can kill him. Now that the Aphelios is dead, the Janna roams and we can do the same thing. We see it, Janna is on the top side of the map. Why not engage once again onto the Aphelios? He doesn't see it coming. I've cleared both of the wards. Janna always rocking up right after the ADC dies. It would be quite frustrating to be Aphelios. This patch, AP junglers are extremely strong. They have insane wave clear. So Morgana jungle is back, which means she can practically clear her whole wave and be bot every given moment. That happens a lot this game. She's in the bot lane. This time she manages to catch the Corky and there was nothing I could do. The laning phase is mostly over at this point and this allows me to start roaming. I catch out the enemy ADC once again with that Hex Flash and move into enemy red side. I'm getting a little greedy here. This is the definition of biting off more than you can chew. I'm attempting to take on the Morgana. She is quite strong and it's only me here. So I'm praying someone shows up or else I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. It does end up working out in our favor this time, but next time I was not so lucky.
Get me out of there.
Ooh, what a KS. I don't know if you caught that, but the enemy Aphelios is 1 and 10. He is getting absolutely butchered. I attempt to go for him once again. Janna randomly shows up, and this allows me to attach onto her. She's desperately trying to escape, but Leona has the best ability in the world, which is her E, so if you time it properly, you can just permanently chase down whoever you want. Even though we were crushing the enemy team in terms of score, it was quite difficult to end this game. Morgana was pretty much hard carrying. She ends up stealing the Baron by herself. I was zoning the enemy team, and then we just kept getting picked, and their chain CC was ridiculous. I walk in to try and get a ward, and I'm locked up until death. I ended up swapping out my boots for the Merc Treads just to try and help. It did. Eventually, we got a good pick onto the Morgana, and this was all it took for us to close out the game. Thank the Lord. We end up finishing today and getting to Diamond 1. Well on our way back into Masters.